Hey guys, John Gorbe here for Elmer Music, and welcome this month. Question of the month is from a Brett Blandon, and what he wants to know is how he can control the unwanted noise coming from his guitar when he plays. This is a problem area for a lot of players in the beginning to intermediate stages. Even some of the more advanced players have some issues with this depending on what they're doing. Many times when you're playing guitar, it's not just what you're playing, it's what you're not playing. And that is to say, it's all of the times while you're playing those notes and in between those notes is when you're damping the strings, you're muting the strings. Because when you're playing, all the wood is going to vibrate and you're going to get this sympathetic vibration is what they call it. So when you hit one note, another note is going to start to ring. An open string is going to start to ring out. It just happens. We have to deal with it as guitarists, and you need to get to the point where you feel comfortable playing cleanly. And that's, a road you have to take. It's a hurdle, but well worth it, because once you start playing cleaner, your phrases sound much, much better and more professional. So, I'm just going to Well, first let me talk about how this works, okay? There's right hand and there's left hand dampening, all right? And I'm going to make this really quick, really easy. I'm going to make it very simple for you to understand this, because I'm not going to lay a whole bunch of rules down and get your mind all blown up about this, okay? Blow your mind up. It's not. It's easier than it really seems, but you have to find your own way of doing it. And after a while, you just do it second nature. But there's a left hand and there's a right hand technique that you use. Basically, for any of the lower strings, that is like low E, A, and D strings, you're going to be using your right hand to dampen those as you play the higher strings, okay? The main area of dampening is going to be either this knife edge here or that ball part under your thumb, okay? Either one. You have to find out what works for you depending on what your angle is on the guitar at that time, which surface you're going to use to dampen the strings, okay? And if you play and you start to hear a lower note, think about your hand position, where you're at, and what would be most economical to use to mute out the unwanted noise. Now, your left hand, your first finger is going to be doing most of the dampening, okay? Your other fingers get involved too, but your first finger is used an awful lot here, and your first finger kind of lays down across those strings and mutes those higher strings, your high E, B, and G string, and sometimes even your D and your A string even. So you want to keep that in mind. First string, you're going to lay it down, your first finger, you're going to lay that down to control the unwanted noise, dampen those higher strings, and your right hand is going to be used primarily for those lower strings, okay? So if I just play a little lick here, already you're hearing those strings. I hope that's coming through the mic. You hear that? I'm not touching those strings at all. You're just hearing those strings ringing. So I need to use my right hand to dampen. I hope you can hear a difference. Listen again. Alright, so you're going to hear one way it's dirty, a lot of unwanted noise. The other way, it's cleaner. I'm only hearing the notes that I want to hear, or that I want you to hear as I'm playing. So if I go through with this, I'm already getting unwanted noise. Listen to all that. That has to be coming through the mic now. You're hearing a lot of unwanted noise that I really don't want you or the audience when I'm playing to hear, right? Now let me dampen it a little bit more. That was much cleaner that time because I didn't hear all that unwanted noise. I was muting out those lower strings as I was playing. So you're hearing things like, you see, you're hearing all those notes now. Much better. Just hearing a little bit of a reverb trail from that note, but you're not hearing the unwanted noise. and that is huge, right? So what was I doing there? Well, I'm leaving that first finger down, so you're not hearing the high strings. And I'm leaving my right hand down so you don't hear the low strings. Now I'm here, muting at the lower strings. Okay, so if you don't, that's what you get, right? You hear that unwanted noise. That's really, really annoying. Here's another example of when you're going to want to dampen these strings. If you're doing a lot of double stops, a lot of double stop sliding, things like that. If you don't dampen those strings, let's see if I can do this without dampening. You're hearing a little bit of that noise in there. Not a lot, but you're hearing a little bit. There's more there. That's bound to happen. And I'm not using a high volume. This is a low volume just for the studio. If I turn this up, you're really going to hear noise. If I apply some overdrive, you're going to hear more noise. So you might want to practice this stuff with overdrive and a little bit higher volume, just a little bit, so you can really make sure that you're muting these strings out. But with these double stops here, you know, that's a clean sound. And especially when I do that kind of stuff live, I really need to make sure I'm dampening, or it's not going to sound good at all. Now, as you're playing, you might get some unwanted noise, okay? You know, if you're playing some fast lines, every once in a while, some other strings slip in there and ring. That's natural. That's going to happen. You're only human. You're going to hear it, and everybody's playing. I think it's cool. Everything's not going to be exactly dead on like a computer, right? But you're going to be able to control a lot of the really obnoxious over-ringing if you're aware of your left hand, what it needs to do, and your right hand, what it needs to do, and you're going to be a much cleaner player, you know, and you're just going to find a way to make that all work for you. What you might want to do is just some simple finger gymnastics. Whoops, some simple finger gymnastics. I'm letting that first finger trail behind here, laying down a little bit, so you don't hear the unwanted noise. See, here I can't do much on the first string. I'm really just muting out the lower strings, right, with my right hand. Now as I make my way up here, I'm muting out those strings. So those strings are all muted out with my first finger, just to ensure that I'm not going to get this excessive ringing. Alright guys, I hope that helped you out this week. I think it's a really, really big point that needs to be brought up. I'll probably bring it up later as well during another Q&A. I'm sure it'll be asked then again. If not, I might just bring it up because there are other little things that you can do to control your unwanted noise, but those are the big ones. And if you can get that down and work on that technique a little bit, you're going to love it. You're going to be much better off for it, and much cleaner player. Alright? So, good luck with that, guys. Until next time, happy playing.